What's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it.
Moving too bossy.
Before I get started, can you see by my face that I'm a little irritated? I hate doing videos when I'm irritated and in a bad mood or so, because it usually shows up in my review. But I got to be real with y'all. It's not in a good mood, and I haven't been. I think it's just because I don't feel good. These allergies, they suck, and work gets on my nerves, and I'm not even supposed to be cursing. I'll have to make sure I block that out, bleep that out. But trying to get my attitude together, you guys. But I'm just not in a funky today. I'm gonna try to keep it under wraps, you guys, as best I can. It's a lot of stuff today. First story up, the news hit the blogs yesterday that Drew and Ralph from Real Housewives of Atlanta have filed for divorce. Now, when the story first came out, they said that Ralph was the one who put the papers in, filed for divorce, said that the relationship was without hope of reconciliation. So this is it. We filing for divorce. It's a wrap on that. Okay. Shortly after that came out, we actually found out that no, Drew actually filed for divorce 61 minutes before Ralph did. So she is indeed the one who petitioned the court for a divorce. Okay, I'm not sure why it matters who filed first. As far as the legalities are concerned, I'm not sure if the person that files is one up on the other person. I guess to just the public at large, whenever a person files for divorce and it is unexpected, that's what they're saying, that it was an unexpected filing, came out of nowhere. It usually is because something has happened to cause that person to be like, you know what, that's it. Fuck it, I'm going to get a divorce. But my real rock star lawyers out there can let me know, is there a reason that it matters that somebody filed first? I mean, in the end, we get a divorce, so it don't really seem like it would make that much difference to me, but maybe it does. Just now, before I started doing Top of the Blogs, I saw on Instagram that Drew has let everybody know the reason why she went and filed for divorce. First of all, Ralph supposedly said that they had been separated since last Thursday. So a week ago today, they were separated. And by Monday morning is when all of these filings took place. So we ain't doing no trial separation, even though if you ask me, Ralph been on a trial separation for some time. Since we've known him, Ralph has been separated, but they were together still, in reality. But in spirit, I think Ralph had left a long time ago. But this morning I read that Drew said that the reason that she filed for divorce is because things got physical with her and Ralph. Apparently, they got into some confrontation. He snatched the phone from her, and she said it caused her to fall down on the ground. He yelled over her that he pays the cell phone bill, so it's his phone. And I would imagine they've probably had many other confrontations. Could be physical, could just be verbal, but when it gets to these points where you're feeling like maybe you aren't safe in your own home, you have children that you have to think about, you just don't need to be in that relationship, okay? And it's best to get out when you first realize it instead of staying, trying to work it out, continuing to be abused in whichever way that it was, and it's just continues to be harder and harder for you to go. So she said that it had gotten so bad that she felt like she and her kids needed to leave and go to Chicago, that she would feel safer there. I guess she has, her family is there. And anytime that you need to be leaving out the state, that's when you know that it must have gotten pretty bad there. Okay, so great for Drew for finally making the decision to leave. I feel like their relationship has been doomed since we met them. When they first came on the show, you know, was all that talk about him going to Florida and her not knowing where he was. You know, he just needed space. She thought he was downstairs in the basement and the nigga was all the way out of the state, okay? And wouldn't tell her where she was. We all felt like that was definitely a problem. If you ask me, the show is really the reason why they made it a couple more years onto that relationship. I feel like that marriage was over when they came onto the show. And I'm sure most people probably feel that way as well. Ralph has never been nice to her. You know, we already said that he gaslit her. He just treated her bad and dismissive, and all of the talk about him seeing other women and, you know, doing all these things behind her back, undermining her, making her look stupid. You know, in retrospect, now that we look at this whole thing and realize that, yes, it is true that these two are going to break up, he's never been a good person to her, never. He's always seemed like he tolerates her, that she gets on his nerves. And she kind of always looked like that woman that was just trying to hold it together for the cameras. Kind of like how Chris was with Monique, okay? Eventually, like my mama say, it's going to come out in the wash, baby. It's going to come out in the wash. And yeah, I'm not surprised, not shocked at all. People are saying that she's doing this for a storyline. I don't think that she would be, only because we've been seeing, it ain't like they've been having a great relationship the whole time that we've seen them. So it's not like, you know, this comes out the blue. She's not trying to create a storyline. Yes, I'm sure it will help her on the show, you know, but I don't think that this is made up for the show at all. I believe that this is really her real life. She may be in pain now. It might be, you know, hurtful to explain to her children why, you know, the dad is not there no more. But in the long run, I think that this is probably the best decision for Drew. You know, people are all saying that they were shocked. Well, not people, but a lot of people in my comments when I posted it on Instagram, you know, were saying that it was shocking, or, you know, that they couldn't believe it. I want to believe that maybe the shock is that she's not going to continue to fight for the relationship, not that this is what the outcome has been. Because like I said, it's never been, you know, even though at the reunion they tried to act like they were so in love. And I think the show has already wrapped for this new season that's coming out. They've already finished filming, so they waited until after the show finished filming before they started. So this, unless they're having problems in this new season that's coming, we won't be talking about this divorce really until next season. So what's that, season 16? Is that what it'll be? 15, 16, somewhere in there. Season 16, that is a lot of damn seasons, you guys. It's time for Real Housewives. Maybe it's time for them to wrap it on up. I mean, damn, we're gonna be on there for 20 years? Hell, how long was Orange County on? Because they were the originals, right? Weren't they like the longest running before Atlanta? Anyway, not surprising that these two are getting the divorce. Like I said, I'm not really trying to say that people need to be leaving each other and marriages, you know, can't ever work. And, you know, I'm all for going to counseling, trying to work on it, trying to fight for it. But when you done did all that you can, you know, let's not beat the dead horse. Like, it's time, you know, I'm always going to tell people that when you know in your soul that it ain't working no more, then that's just it. That's just it. And peace of mind is more important, especially when you have kids. So I'm not mad at Drew. Honey, these Real Housewives husbands been tripping. Yesterday was like a whole lot going down the pike. So that's the first story, is Drew files for divorce on Ralph. Okay, 61 minutes before Ralph did. There was a rushing to the courthouse, but she came out the victor. And now we know why. Not surprising. Are you surprised? Now, I said that the housewives' husbands was out of pocket because we had a whole lot going on with Peter Thomas, too, you guys. Now, Peter Thomas is the former husband of Cynthia Bailey, also from Real Housewives of Atlanta. And, of course, Peter has not been on the show in many, many years. However, Peter was on Real Housewives of Potomac this past season. They first was trying to tell us that he was dating Evelyn. I guess they decided to not go along that story arc, and instead they said that Wendy was going to be starting a business with him. Okay, and you guys saw how it played out on the season. They did not start this business together, you know, and very good for Wendy because I think she dodged the bullet. Nobody needs to be going into business with Peter. Let Peter do his business all by himself, okay? So they did not go into business together. However, you guys know that on the reunion, Mia tried to frivolously and falsely claimed that Wendy and Peter had sex with each other. Now, we knew that that was so ridiculous that nobody even really gave that much attention. We know that Mia has a proclivity to saying whatever comes up in her mind, spits it out, and expects people to deal with it. But it was just sort of like, girl, you didn't even see them kind of sparks between Peter and Wendy. It was definitely strictly business. I mean, Wendy is, you know, anyway, child, we ain't paid that no attention. But apparently, Peter, you know, rightfully so, was annoyed about that comment. Well, you know, if you're Peter, then you know that Peter loves this kind of stuff, first of all. Peter acts like all of this has been an extreme inconvenience for his business, and, you know, that he doesn't want to be in the limelight, and, you know, all of that. That's the way that Peter would come off. However, if you really know Peter, and I mean, I ain't saying I really know him, but, you know, I've told you guys before, I've been around Peter a bunch of times, like in a private setting with a bunch of people, even though he wouldn't remember me, I definitely remember him and how he was. I mean, we spent time as a group together. So I will just say that Peter loves this kind of, he loves all of this. I just really feel like he loves all this. It keeps his name out there, keeps his businesses out there. Okay, bad publicity is not always bad publicity. Okay, so Peter says that, you know, he's irritated about the fact that Mia would lie on him like this. You know, he don't even really know Mia and Gordon like that, you know, and he apologized to Wendy for even have to deal with these kind of rumors. But, you know, Mia's just out of pocket and he don't appreciate it and all that. And I'm not saying that Peter shouldn't feel that way. Mia did throw Peter under the bus. That conversation about Wendy and Peter sleeping together is just, you know, wasn't true. So, after Peter put out that statement, lo and behold, here comes G. I was like, now y'all done dragged Gordon into this. Gordon, who up until now has pretty much stayed off of the blogs, stayed out of the stories, you know, just kind of lets his wife do what his wife do. Now he comes out, and I think he took offense and felt hurt by the things that Peter was saying, how he said he don't know them, when Gordon obviously holds Peter in a higher esteem, says that, you know, he was the second man to hold my child after me that was born. You know, he's been around my family, who broke bread together, you know, he's been there and all that. And for him to act like he doesn't know us, you know, wow, I thought that we were better friends than that. And I mean, I can understand what Gordon is saying. However, Gordon, how about you, like Peter said in the rebuttal, check your wife? I mean, you checking me for some things that I've said that may not be true. You know, I was upset. But then you ain't made no mention about, yeah, my wife was not telling the truth when she said that that Peter and Wendy was having sex together. So it's just sort of like, you gonna come at me, but you ain't even never cleared the lie that your wife said, you know? So this is the stray bullet that, you know, sometimes hits people when you get caught up in a lie on a reality show, and, you know, then outside friendships and relationships get affected. So Peter and Gordon, which has nothing to do really with Real Housewives of Potomac, other than the fact that, you know, his wife is on the show, now their friendship is getting messed up because of Mia's lies. Okay. And like Peter said, you know, you checking me, you're not checking your wife. You need to learn how to play the game. You can still play the game and tell the truth. Okay. I did it for many years when I was on the show. You just need to know how to do it, Gordon. And I can't believe I'm agreeing with Patricia, but it is sort of like the truth, because it's just like, Gordon, what you should have said was, my wife was upset and she just said some things that probably wasn't true. Or you should have not said anything. You should have contacted Peter and had your conversation with him. Okay. But now it's just sort of making it seem like you are upholding the bullshit, because we know it's bullshit that Mia is put out there. Mia come putting a video out of Peter and Wendy having a slice of pizza together. And it's just sort of like, so that's your proof that these two had sex with each other? Because we had a pepperoni pizza together? Come on, Mia, and come on, Gordon. You know, I do like Gordon, and I do feel like Gordon is just in that very precarious spot where, you know, you're trying to be supportive of your wife, but you also want to express yourself. I feel for Gordon in that sense, because like I said, it's the stray bullet. It's the stray bullet effect, okay? But yeah, you know. And of course, Peter is not going to let it die, because like I said, he loves this. He acts like he don't love it, but he does love it. We've talked more about Peter on this season than we have in a long time, so. Yeah, you know, all publicity is good publicity, even bad publicity when it comes to Peter, okay? And I guess since we're talking about Peter, we can also talk about this lawsuit where Peter was actually found not guilty yesterday, okay? Apparently, Tammy Rivera, we found out that she had a cousin that went to the Bar One establishment in Baltimore last March. And she says that the cousin says that while she was there, they first saw Peter. He gave him a hug as she was there with a group of people. Her name was Chantel Williams, I believe. She was with a group of people, and you know, they greeted him and everything. The night was going on along. I guess while they were there, Peter was drinking more and more. So was this woman. She apparently must have noticed that Peter was drunk, very, very drunk, according to her. And he also seemed to be in a pretty bad mood. So she expressed that to her group of friends that she was with, that, you know, that was going on with Peter, and he apparently overheard her. And so he approached her. There was some sort of confrontation, and the next thing you know, the cousin said he had then grabbed her up and was choking her out. Said that he was choking her out for about 30 minutes. Not 30 minutes, the child would have been dead. Choking her out for about 30 seconds until finally, you know, they had to get some people to get him off of her. And, you know, that's when she said that she had been assaulted. She was pressing the charges. But then yesterday, I guess, well, not yesterday, but whenever it came up in court, Peter said that she actually was the very, very drunk one. They did have a confrontation, and she actually grabbed him. He was just trying to get her off of him, okay? And once he was able to wrestle himself away from her grip, she fell back into like one of the dining chairs, all right? And she's saying, I guess that's how she's saying that she was assaulted by him putting his hands on her. She's saying that she was choked. He said that no, he just tried to push her off of him. Whatever it was, there was definitely some sort of confrontation. Tammy Rivera said that Peter was guilty of choking out her niece or cousin, and that everybody that was there, you know, did see it. Now, I don't know if everybody that was there was in court. I'm not sure if everybody was there gave their side of the story to the police. But they're saying that the jury deliberated for less than an hour. They came out, it was a not guilty for Peter, and he was able to go on his way. They say that Chanel immediately got up and left out of court, so nobody was able to talk to her either. But, you know, all this is happening with Bar One and Peter and all of this. You know, he said that it's been a rough couple of days for him, you know, that he's been out there in them blogs like that. So yeah, so that was another thing, child. We got Drew's husband Ralph, we had Cynthia's ex-husband Peter, we got Gordon from Mia's husband, and then next, you guys, we got Michael Darby. Let's wrap it on up with Mr. Darby. So you guys remember in Real Housewives of Potomac this past season, Candace, when she went over to, when she was out of town with the girls, and she had one of her mini confrontations with Ashley, she mentioned that Michael Darby was, you know, known to go over to some man's house. She said the man's name, but they bleeped it out. But she said that he goes over some man's house and pays him and sucks his dick, okay? And she was quite, you know, it wasn't like kind of how usually when these kind of accusations come out where they just pretty vague, they don't really give no names. The fact that Candace actually said the person's name, said that Michael pays him and he sucks his dick and all of this, Michael had a problem with that, okay? Apparently he sent a cease and desist to Candace Dillard, telling her to stop talking about him on the show. And apparently she had ignored that. She continued to talk about him on the show. So now Michael has filed a defamation lawsuit against Candace Dillard for $2 million. Okay. And everybody is all up in arms, like, you know, how dare he, because, you know, he was out there cheating on Ashley and all of this. And while I totally agree that, you know, if Michael is out there cheating, and Ashley treats Candace the way that she does, you know, Candace can throw that back out at her, but Candace better be careful with these accusations. When you are so specific and saying names and doing all of that, I feel like you open yourself up to being sued, okay? You better have proof that something like this happened. You know, because I feel like Candace is going to have the burden of proof now because you the one that said it. Now, it wasn't nobody talking about it. You the one brought it up. You the one said it. You got names and all of this. So you better have a video. You better have some pictures. You better have some text messages. You better have something that's concrete enough for a judge to look at and say, okay, yeah, you didn't lie. That really did happen. Otherwise, this is the same as all of these other lawsuits that we are seeing people sue for defamation. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj now, and now, you know, when you talk about people and you say things in a specific way where you're presenting it as fact, then you know, folks, they gonna sue now. And if they have the money to take it to court and, you know, pay the lawyers and really keep you up there in court and having to deal with that, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel a little worried for Candace because I feel like Michael is going to pursue this. He's not a housewife. You know, before they used to say that they don't want you to like sue your castmates because then it creates extra issues on the show. But Michael's not on the show, okay? And I've always felt like Candace talks about Michael too much. I understand that she don't like him and everything, but first of all, Ashley treats you like shit, so why you even so worried about what Michael does, okay? And I understand the things that Candace has problems with Michael when it pertains to her, but Candace, she talks about Michael when it comes to anything. Any way she can throw Michael in the mix, she will. Okay, I've seen her do it. I know y'all probably won't admit it, but she does do that. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I ain't really surprised. I kind of see how he could feel like this is something that he wants to pursue. They'll probably either settle it or something. I don't know, how it'll turn out, but I definitely see where, if I was Michael, I would kind of feel like I would want to sue her as well.
But not flossy, the streets that taught me, but we're too bossy, we don't tread softly, but not flossy, the streets that taught me, I'm just trying to get my nigga paid. We came from Section 8, and I knew I was at since the 2nd grade. Man, I swear my time is coming, cause I'm never late. Came from
I'm just hoping she got proof. Now, if she got some proof, then that's something, then it ain't nothing that we need to worry about. But yeah, you guys, that's what's happening. I done spent all this, look, it's like 26.30 seconds, 26 minutes, 30 seconds that I've been talking about this. I'll have to edit it down. But honey, them housewives' husbands have had it. I'm sorry, boo. They're so over it. They're over it, and they're going back and forth and doing all of this. And yeah, child, the husbands done wore me out yesterday. It was a whole lot going on in the blogs, y'all. But that's enough on that. Y'all let me know what you think about all of that. Next story.
Broken homes and broken dreams are getting paid. Dollar bill. Listen close. This is
all right, you guys. Next story up. So I guess since we talking about reality shows, and this is gonna be a really quick little blip since I don't watch Basketball Wives any longer, and I haven't for a long time. But of course, I see what goes on in the blogs. I know that show is very much, if not even worse, is still what it was when I decided I wasn't watching it no more, which is very, very extremely toxic. Nobody on the show was likable. I was just over it, okay? I know they had a whole big return of the OGs, and not to be confused with OG, the character that was on the show, but I'm talking about the original cast, which was Shawnee was there, Evelyn, we had Tammy, we had Malaysia. I don't know if people really remember, but Malaysia was off the show for a couple of seasons, okay? She left the show and then she came back. But anyway, so, when they had all of that group of girls there, they had kind of got labeled as the mean girls because they had confrontation after confrontation with OG. I didn't watch it that season. I don't really know what the deal is with OG, whether the people really like her or really don't like her, but I know that there were like all these colorism claims and mean girls and them treating OG wrong and, and I believed everything. Anything that came my way when it came to that show, I believed it because I was just like, that's just how they are over there. It's just like so, It's just nothing even redeeming about the show to want to watch it. So now we know that Tammy left the show a couple of seasons ago. She said it wasn't fun anymore, and she wasn't getting along with the girls. So why just be there with all of that? We know that Evelyn left the show. We know that Shawnee left the show because she's got some religion. All of a sudden, she is a first lady. Okay, so that show doesn't work well with her new image. And, now we have Malaysia, who I was super shocked to find out that her and Brandy weren't ace boom coons. I was like, you mean to tell me single white female in Malaysia? I know that must have drove Brandy crazy. Because y'all know how much Brandy loved Malaysia's dirty panties. Anything that Malaysia did, Brandy was going to support it, okay? Now, I don't know what happened, that them two weren't friends the way that they were. I think it was something about Brandy was going through some things privately and Malaysia wasn't there for her when she was going through it. I don't know if it was when Brandy was sick. We know that Brandy had cancer, and I believe she had a lot of complications from COVID as well. I don't know what it was, but I was shocked to find out a single white female in Malaysia was not friends no more. But now, Jackie is the only original cast member on the show with the exception of Malaysia. But Malaysia, this new season, has told everybody that she is not coming back. She's not going to be participating with that group of girls. You know, Jackie was like, so what are you saying? This is what I saw in the clip. And she says, well, I'm not going to be coming around those girls anymore. Okay. Which is her not trying to break the fourth wall and saying, I'm not doing this damn show no fucking more. Okay, she said that in the confessional, but when she was talking to Jackie, she just said she didn't want to be around them girls no more, you know, and that she's just more concerned about her peace. Now, I was reading the comments and people were like, oh, so now she can't stand the heat. You know, she treated OG the way that she did with the mean girls, but now that all the mean girls is gone and she's the last one there, you know, kind of having to fend for herself. Now she realized she can't hang. That's what some people are saying. Other people are saying, is it because her house is in foreclosure? She's losing her home and she doesn't want to have to deal with everybody being in her business. I mean, I guess it could be any of that as well. But I think Malaysia probably also just knows that the show has run its course. And it's nothing positive. When people talk about Basketball Wives, you never hear anything positive about what they say about Basketball Wives. Never, never. I haven't seen a positive post about that show in years, okay? So maybe she just finally realized that this is not good for her image. You know, that people are seeing her behave in this way week after week and all of that. Is just, maybe that's just not where she wants to be any longer. Whatever it is, hell, everybody need to leave the fucking show. All right, Jackie gonna hold on to that show for as long as she can, because Jackie, you know, what else is she doing besides running behind Doug? You know, so this is her outlet. This gives her something to do. And I mean, is Jackie still having a wedding on that show every season? It's just sort of like, I just, you know, it's like, what do they even talk about on this show? What are they doing on that show? I don't even care. Y'all ain't got to tell me. That was a rhetorical question. Y'all ain't got to give me no updates on Basketball Wives. I honestly do not care. But yeah, Malaysia say she gone, and Jackie will be the last one, you know, there with all them young girls. I don't know who's the wives on there, who's not. I mean, that doesn't really matter on these shows any longer. But yeah, y'all, Malaysia say she out. Y'all gonna miss her?
Drill, cause hungry trying to get a meal. I've been in light, who gon' pay a bill? I've been in action, been in traction.
All right, you guys. Next story. I guess this could have went along with the Real Housewives section of this video. So Larsa Pippen, before we get started on the story, is Larsa Pippen still on Real Housewives of Miami? First of all, I didn't even know Real Housewives of Miami still existed. But when I was saying that on Instagram, in one of my comments, I was saying how Larsa is not even on the show any longer. Somebody said, yes, she is still on the show. So I was just like, oh, is she? I didn't know that. But I didn't know that the show was still on. But somebody said that they are still watching. They watch a new episode and she was on there. But anyway, y'all just let me know. But let me get to this story. So Tamron Hall, you guys know she has a talk show, comes on in the afternoons out here in Atlanta. And she had Larsa Pippen on there. First of all, what did Larsa do to her face? She used to be such a pretty woman. She has done so much work to her face that she doesn't look nothing like what I remember the woman looking like. I remember she went through this whole kind of like, she thought that she wanted to look exactly like the Kardashians. So when she was hanging out with them, she was getting all her makeup or whatever procedures she was having done to look like them. And then when Kanye, you know, blasted her and put her out the group, and then they all stopped talking, they stopped fucking with Larsa. You know, now she looks different even from when she was with them, but she don't look nothing like how she looked when she was with Scotty. That's neither here nor there. But anyway, so she was on the show and, you know, Tamron Hall was asking her the questions that everybody has had in their mind when it comes to the relationship that she has with the younger Michael Jordan. You guys know that she is dating Michael Jordan, who's about 10, 12 years her junior. Michael Jordan's son. Okay, so this is a junior, and we've talked about it in the past and said how it was kind of weird, you know, the fact that she was with him when she had to have been around him when he was a child, when she was actually with Scottie Pippen. Even though we now know that Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan ain't really friends like that. I don't think nobody is really friends with Michael Jordan. I've heard from many, many people that he is a horrible, mean, awful person. But anyway, at some point she had to have been around the kids, and that's Miss Larsa. Now all of a sudden he's smashing her, he blowing her back out. It's weird. It's kind of weird. We do find out that Larsa is 10 years younger than Scottie, so she was right in the in-between age between Michael Jordan Jr. and Scottie Pippen. She was that middle thing, so she could kind of go either way if she wanted to go the younger route or the older route. And I'm not saying that, even though I know a lot of people like to date younger folks, and that ain't my bag, okay? The young motherfuckers will stress you the fuck out, but I mean, if that's what the hell she want, then fine. But, she's she's in this relationship with him, and so Tamron asked her, like, out of all the people that you can date in the world, why would you date Michael Jordan Jr.? Why would you date this young man out of all the people? And she said, well, it's not like that's just what she set out to do. It's just that, they're in circles and they cross paths pretty often, and they was hanging out, and they decided that they liked each other, and she seems to be happy and he seems to be happy, and so why shouldn't she? And I was just like, I mean, I guess that's fine. She had to know that there was going to be some scrutiny on that relationship because of just the optics. The way that it looks is not really the best, But I was just like, it's her life. She can be with whoever she wants to. But I was just looking at the comments, and people were really upset with Tamron Hall and saying how she, was too hard on her, and she was just kind of to the point of almost being rude. And I was just like, no, it's not really being rude. Larsa had to know when she went on the show that that's what she was going to be talking about, because what else is Larsa doing? That's when somebody told me that she was still on Real Housewives of Miami, and I was just like, no, she's not. And they were like, yes, she is. Okay. So, I mean, I guess really they could have been talking about Real Housewives of Miami, but who the hell talks about Real Housewives of Miami? Y'all, I don't know nothing about that damn show. Does anybody out there watch that show? But that's my whole point, was just like, she went on Tamron Hall so that she could clear the air about Michael Jordan Jr., okay? So don't get mad at Tamron Hall, because we don't give a fuck about Larsa Pippen otherwise. I mean, she went on there, she put herself under fire. She let everybody know that this is a real thing. She really likes him. He really likes her. This is their life, When Tamron was trying to find out, like, how is it when she's around Michael Jordan and Juanita Jordan and all of that, and she said that she doesn't want to talk about that because it's not about that, and it's not about that. Okay, so I mean, Tamron gave it a try. She shot her shot at it, but I was just like, I'm not mad at Tamron for asking those questions, because, girl, we want to know. Hell, what else is she doing for us to talk about? So y'all don't be mad at Tamron. People was like, she lacks depth and she don't know how to ask the real questions, and it was Black History Month and she could have asked her. I was like, first of all, Larsa's not black. Okay, so what was she gonna ask her about? How was she going to tie Black History Month into this interview is beyond me. But anyway, you guys, she's promoting the relationship. She's on Tamron Hall. Tamron asked the question, she answers them. That's really it. Okay? You love who you love. All right? So, I mean, I guess I'm not mad.
Slacking, shining light but still be blacking, red lights will stop the action, green to go even when it's slow, higher heights to balance out the lows, can't ride the wave cause you ain't got a boat, all you only need to know, babe.